Chapter 1 Lord Senju, the initial experiments for the development of interdimensional teleportation ninjutsu, which you decided to undertake 20 years ago, have been completed. In a futuristic plaza, Orakai was showing the Senju Uchiha a cross-dimensional teleportation array, a project that had taken 20 years and countless resources to build. For the great Serpent Wan, who reveres science, the Emperor's actions were the very embodiment of the thoughts and creations of a true great man. But to most other people, this was a symbol of the Uchiha Senju clan's stubbornness, waste of resources, and warmongering madness. Having unified the entire ninja world, he actually wants to spread the flames of war to other worlds? How much does he need to satisfy his insatiable ambition? The experiments related to this ninjutsu have essentially concluded. Both summoned beasts and shadow clones can successfully use this ninjutsu to reach another ninja world. Currently, the passage can accommodate 3 people descending to that world together. However, due to the passage's poor stability, it's safest for anyone below the shadow level to enter. Senju nodded. 20 years. A full 20 years. This teleportation array is finally complete. The Otsutsuki clan had always been like a sword hanging over his head. Even with his world developed to its fullest potential, he had no confidence in resisting their arrival. Now that the door to a parallel world has opened, my future will suddenly be bright. That's right, he's a time traveler from the 21st century, and also a hothead who knows the original plot inside and out. He transmigrated to this world at the end of the First Shinobi World War. His mother was from the Senju clan, and his father was from the Uchiha clan. His birth was a taboo, and he was only able to survive by miraculously escaping death after his parents were sacrificed. Because he possesses both bloodlines, he was born with the Sharingan, the sage body, and is proficient in various elemental ninjutsu. After the start of the Second Shinobi World War, he single-handedly wiped out the entire shinobi world's elite and then abolished the shinobi villages and national systems. He unified the world and established the first unified nation in the shinobi world. Ordinary people don't care who's in power, they only care about how much rice costs today and whether they can afford oil tomorrow. However, for ninjas and daimyo, the Uchiha Senju clan threatened their interests, and countless conservatives began to sabotage the empire after its establishment, attempting to restore the ninja village system. In a fit of rage, the Uchiha Senju massacred the ninja world, reducing the number of ninjas in the world by 1/3. From then on, no one dared to act recklessly, and the title of tyrant was bestowed upon him. The peace that countless heroes of the ninja world had sought had arrived in this bizarre way. 3 people below the level of Super Shadow. In the present ninja world, there is no distinction between countries and villages, all ninjas belong to the empire. The Uchiha Senju were the first emperor of the empire. He has absolute power to command anyone. As for the first wave of advance troops, countless outstanding individuals in the ninja world now hold key positions within the empire. For example, Minato Namikaze is the director of the National Transportation Bureau, and he is responsible for many matters, big and small, every day. He certainly cannot easily be deployed to explore other worlds. For example, the Thousand-Handed Clan consists of important staff members of the State Administration of Infrastructure Development in Daxia. The Hyuga clan even established themselves as doctors in various hospitals across the country. There are many talented people. This makes it very difficult for Senju to make a choice. He quickly thought of several people who had been idle recently and were blessed with great fortune. The legendary heroes are Uchiha Shirato, Hitaki Kakashi, and Uzumaki Nagato. Yes. Shirato and Nagato, needless to say, were both chosen ones of their era. Dato's dual Kamui abilities ensured the safety of the 3 of them when crossing passages, and his Kamui could also be used as a storage space, making it an essential tool for both home and travel, as well as for cross-dimensional killing. Nagato's Rinnegan, implanted by Madara, is still unactivated and currently stuck at the Super Cage level. He only needs to go there to break through to become a Super Cage at any time. Kakashi graduated as a jonin at age 6, became an elite jonin at age 8, and by age 12, his swordsmanship surpassed that of a Kage. He possesses rich experience, knowledge, and absolute rationality. In the original work, he was not only assigned to be the bodyguard of the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, but also served as Hokage. These three candidates are arguably the most suitable at present. As for Uchiha Shikisui, his eye technique is indeed suitable for conquering a world, but he is currently on a mission to brainwash a certain pyramid scheme organization in the Earth Province, so he cannot return for the time being. Moreover, the cooldown of Kota Amatsukami is too long, requiring several years of cooldown after each use, making it unsuitable as a vanguard force. Orakai, do you think if we put a large group of ninjas into Dato's Kamui dimension, could we use that opportunity to bring them to another parallel world? The giant snake shook its head. Without a stable teleportation channel, anyone below the cage level cannot resist this spatial force. Even spatial ninja tools like the Kyunkan bag and Kamui will have their contents shattered by the spatial turbulence. I see. Uchiha Senju nodded. After casually inquiring about the progress of a few research projects, Senju approvingly painted a rosy picture for Orakai, and the three people he had summoned had already arrived. Otoko Senju. The three men bowed upon seeing the Uchiha Senju. Senju nodded. The interdimensional teleportation project is nearing completion, and the Empire now needs you as the first wave of advance troops. Faced with that unknown world, our current information is essentially non-existent. This mission is classified as Super S-level danger. From the moment you step into this teleportation array, you are at risk of perishing. The Empire is humane. This mission is voluntary. If you wish to withdraw, please state so now. Uchiha Senju glanced at the group. Since the three of you have all acquiesced, then please complete this mission well. It concerns the future rise and fall of our entire empire. Dato, while traversing space, keep a close eye on Nagato and Kakashi. If anything happens that could endanger your lives, teleport them to the Kamui dimension immediately to ensure their safety as much as possible. Nu. Kakashi, you'll be the temporary leader of the trio. Remember to report any issues you can't handle immediately. If you can't contact the Empire, all decisions will be yours. Yes. Nagato, this is the latest gene serum developed by Tsunade Medical Center. It contains my 6 Paths Chakra, which can help you instantly awaken the Rinnegan and reduce its consumption. Thank you, Lord Thousand Hands. Furthermore, this is a nano-bracelet jointly developed by Aberame Biotechnology, Akasuna Machinery, and Orakai Technology. You can use it to locate and communicate with each other, and report to me at any time. It also contains knowledge of most of the Empire's forbidden ninjutsu, technological machinery, biomedical techniques, and more, including methods for constructing teleportation portals. Uchiha Senju took out 3 high-tech nano-watches. The three put on the bracelets, and immediately a sharp pain came from their arms. Then a flood of all sorts of knowledge rushed into their minds. This is because the nanobots connected to their consciousness by biting their flesh and then used illusion magic to infuse all their knowledge into their brains. The three of them were excited. Putting everything else aside, the knowledge contained here alone was worth more than any mission reward. Alright, aside from the intelligence gathering mission, I've already informed you of the remaining individual missions via the bracelet. Now, please set off. Chapter 2. Konoha Year 64. The Valley of the End. A violent tremor swept in all directions, and the surrounding air began to distort under the intense heat. With the sound of space tearing apart, 3 people appeared out of thin air. Who is this, the Valley of the End? Nagato's eyes were somewhat gloomy. So this is another world. It's quite a sight to see the Valley of the End so desolate. Dato excitedly scanned his surroundings. Crossing boundaries. I never expected Orakai to actually succeed. Kakashi couldn't hide the shock in his eyes. Within the Empire, the Valley of the End is a famous tourist attraction in the province of Fire, always packed with visitors. It contributes a significant portion of the province's GDP annually and creates tens of thousands of jobs each year. Now, this area, spanning hundreds of miles, is completely empty except for the statues of Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju. Desolation was the first impression these three people had of this world. In the distance, Jiraiya, who was using a monocular telescope to gather materials by taking advantage of the Valley of the End's location, suddenly sensed a spatial fluctuation, followed by the appearance of three powerful chakra streams. He glanced reluctantly at the few young women playing in the river, his face gloomy. Who is it? Hopefully we haven't been discovered. Feeling somewhat guilty, he formed hand seals and used a transformation spell to turn into a toad. He was somewhat puzzled. These three streams of chakra seemed unfamiliar, as if they didn't belong to Konoha, yet they also felt somewhat familiar. He slowly approached the three people. As the distance decreased, his pupils began to contract sharply. These three streams of chakra surpass those of a Jonin. Thinking of the recent turmoil in Konoha and the surrounding villages eyeing him with hostility, he boldly approached. Let's all try to see if we can contact the Emperor. Kakashi gave the order. Wait. Kakashi, are we just going to contact each other like this? Nagato spoke up to stop her. It's all right, Nagato. The fact that we've come into this world and proven that crossing boundaries is feasible is already a great achievement. Dato offered words of comfort, assuming Nagato was worried that the three of them hadn't yet achieved anything. No, that's not what I'm worried about. Do we really want to bring war into this world? The Emperor's cruelty is well known. I don't want to see him sacrifice countless lives to achieve his own ends again. This world is innocent. Although he did not experience war, he was one of the observers of the Second Shinobi World War and had been taught by Jiraiya. He deeply understood the value of peace. He is now Nagato, the prophesied son who was there before he lost Yahiko. Kind and gentle, always considering others in everything she does, she can be summed up in 2 words, a saint. Nagato, this is a mission. I just want you to obey. Our coming to this world isn't necessarily a mistake. The Emperor also said that if this world's path is correct, then we're here to seek cooperation. Kakashi looked at Nagato. Nagato remained silent for a moment, then gave a self-deprecating laugh. Isn't it the Emperor who decides right or wrong? In all these years, has he ever truly consulted anyone's opinion on any of his ideas? The war had just ended, and the entire ninja world needed repairs. He kept saying he longed for peace, yet after unifying the ninja world, he immediately disregarded the people's livelihood and mobilized the entire nation's resources to research interdimensional teleportation ninjutsu, attempting to spread the war to a parallel universe. I truly don't understand. Nagato's tone began to betray resentment as she spoke. How much territory would it take to satisfy his vain and domineering heart? Daitu's emotions were also complicated upon hearing this. Yes, the Emperor is stubborn and self-willed, making all decisions unilaterally. The so-called Republic is merely a pretext for his dictatorship. All right, stop talking. The Emperor trusted us, that's why he sent us as the vanguard. At least for now, everyone is well fed and living in peace, isn't that right? Kakashi comforted them. A peaceful and prosperous life? All I see are people struggling to breathe under the weight of life's pressures as they strive to achieve his grand ambitions. Kakashi remained silent. All right, I'll contact the Emperor then. As a large amount of chakra was injected into the bracelet, a phantom appeared in front of the three. Uchiha Senju smiled as he looked at the three who had successfully arrived in the parallel world. Thank you all for your hard work. A deep, authoritative voice came from the bracelet. Reporting to the Emperor, we have safely crossed the boundary and are currently located in the Valley of the End. Kakashi reported the facts truthfully. Okay, I've transmitted your detailed tasks to you via the bracelet. Remember, your safety must always be your top priority. Uchiha Senju glanced at Nagato, who looked like a wilted eggplant, and sighed. Remember, we are here to correct the errors of the world, to seek peace and cooperation, not to kill and plunder, so don't feel guilty. Seeing that Nagato remained silent, Senju spoke up. Nagato, do you still remember the standard for judging whether a world is correct? His tone turned cold. Nagato, of course, had not forgotten this idea, which had been repeatedly promoted since the Emperor unified the ninja world, and he answered with a stiff upper lip. The village-state system is a mistake, a unified republic and communism are the correct path. Do you still remember the core socialist values? Remember. Okay, then I won't say any more. Nagato, complete the mission well, and think more about your past self and your family. The communication ended, and the giant serpent couldn't help but speak. Your Majesty, although Nagato is powerful, aren't you afraid he might betray you at any time? Besides, I think he probably won't understand what you're about to say. He didn't experience that period of war, at most, he just went hungry for a few days. Rebel. Thousand Hands smiled. He couldn't possibly be unaware of how pathetic and chaotic a world without unity would be, thanks to his own efforts to achieve unification. Nagato is a typical armchair strategist. He hasn't personally experienced the tragedies of war and family destruction that Jiraiya instilled in him. He even saved his own parents, so this kid has no idea how painful it is to lose loved ones and comrades at any time. The ideals of communism have taken root in people's hearts. When the two are compared, he doesn't believe that Nagato would abandon such a good system to restore the old ninja village system. Even assuming the worst, given my strength surpassing the 6 paths, what if he really betrays me? Of course, Nagato, who possesses the Rinnegan, is a very good sword. This time, it has been sharpened, so it will be easier for me to use it later. Kakashi sighed as he watched the call end. Nagato, meanwhile, was clenching his fists, seething with rage. As expected. The Emperor is still the same. What did he mean by his last words? Was he using my parents to blackmail me? I, Nagato, accepted this mission to maintain world peace. I am the chosen one of prophecy, handpicked by the immortals. Now that I am in this world, Emperor, you can forget about bringing war back. Nagato had been wondering why Jiraiya called himself the child of prophecy, and that the peace of the future world depended on him. During his years at Hokage University, he kept thinking that he was just an ordinary college student, and besides, the ninja world had already been unified, so how could he possibly have a chance to save the world in the future? At this moment, filled with rage and utterly dissatisfied with the Uchiha Senju, Nagato suddenly realized the truth. The immortal was right. I am the prophesied child spoken of by the Toad Immortal. The hero who will save the world. Chapter 3. Have your missions been released yet? My mission is to collect as many rare materials as possible for future use in constructing a two-way teleportation channel. Kakashi spoke. The Emperor instructed me to pay closer attention to myself in this world. If possible, let's exchange eyes to awaken the eternal kaleidoscope. Daitu's face showed excitement. Furthermore, we need to attract talent. Kakashi glanced at Nagato. My mission is to capture the tailed beasts. Nagato spoke with a deep expression. Nagato, according to the parallel world data provided by the Emperor, we are currently likely within the Land of Fire's territory, and Konoha village is not far away. Although it's a parallel world, our identities might be easily discovered. Since you used to live in Omegakure, no one in Konoha should recognize you. You'll be in charge of gathering intelligence now, while Dato and I will go and collect the materials needed to build the teleportation tunnel. Kakashi glanced at Nagato meaningfully. Should we split up? Nagato had the same idea. Arrival in this world? Transcendence? Emperor? War? Communism? Jiraiya stood on a treetop, listening to the intermittent sounds from afar, his pupils widening in shock. He was very familiar with the spatial fluctuations that had just caused the three of them to descend. The spirit toad of Myriad Woods Mountain felt exactly like that. But is the other person from another world? One was familiar, and two left a deep impression. One was Kakashi. He wasn't wearing a headband, and his eyes were deep set. It was clearly not Kakashi, the copy ninja from Konoha. The other was Nagato, a disciple he had taken in during the Second Shinobi World War, whom he considered the child of prophecy. The last one looked somewhat familiar, but unfortunately I couldn't quite place it. He looks like Minato's apprentice, but didn't that guy die in the battle at Konobe Bridge? Jiraiya noticed one of the three men's gazes sweeping towards him, and his mind tightened. Sharingan. However, being one of the legendary Sunin, Jiraiya, having concealed himself beforehand and made preparations, managed to evade Dato's casual glances. Jiraiya's back was soaked with sweat, and he was panting heavily. A member of the Uchiha clan. His brows were furrowed. Seeing that the three people had split into two groups, he gritted his teeth and created a shadow clone. Go and talk to those two. His own goal is Nagato. Because of the three, he could tell that Nagato was the most hesitant and the most resistant to war. Having spent time together in the past, he believed he knew Nagato best. But there are more important things to do right now. Jiraiya summoned a small toad, stuffed the information he had just gathered into its mouth, told it to be given to the third Hokage, and then chased after Nagato in the direction he had left. A town on the border of the Land of Fire. Nagato didn't go to Konoha immediately, he wanted to understand this world better. You're saying ninjas are all trash? He caused you to be displaced, and in just a few decades, 3 shinobi world wars have already broken out because of interests. Inside the tavern, Nagato was chatting with a drunken man. Isn't there anyone who will step forward to lead everyone in forming a nation to share the benefits? The man glanced at Nagato with disdain. As expected of a young person. Putting everything else aside, let's take the simplest example, you're from the Land of Fire. If you were the ruler, would you provide more resources to other countries? Wouldn't everyone be thinking about how to benefit their own country? Nagato thought of the Uchiha Senju, who treated everyone equally, whether they were from the Land of Water or the Land of Fire. He never showed favoritism to any particular group. Because of this, he often heard people at school complaining that the Uchiha Senju, being from the Land of Fire, treated people from other countries so well. They said they should have enslaved them or increased taxes to make their lives easier. Many people privately curse the Uchiha Senju, saying that he is ruthless towards his own people and has no regard for blood ties. Then each country could elect one person, and then resources could be allocated evenly. Those around them burst into laughter upon hearing this. Can you guess what the 5 Kage do? Do you think the 5 Kage didn't negotiate before the war started? Wasn't it all because of unequal distribution of benefits that they fought? I'm stronger than you, why should I listen to you? The people around him drank and laughed, ignoring Nagato. At this moment, Nagato remembered what the emperor had said. The ninja village system is a cancer on the world. Looking at the people around him, he hesitated, as if he wanted to say something but then stopped. Standing on the border between the Land of Fire and the Land of Rivers, his mood soured as he looked at the muddy, potholed road. You should know that in the empire, not to mention the roads between provinces, even the roads between villages are all paved by Earth-style ninjas. Countless people within the empire yearned to return to the era when the ninja village and the daimyo jointly ruled the country. For them, it was a romantic and wonderful era. The consciousness and bonds between people are like a raging fire, never extinguished. In that era, two people with no blood ties could sacrifice for each other. Neither the shadow nor the name can control everything, they cooperate with each other, and the country is thriving. Everyone is free and happy, the air is sweet, and the whole country is not as oppressive as an empire, where everyone is under so much pressure that they are on the verge of collapse, and countless people are so caught up in the pressure that they want to commit suicide. He once fantasized that he was one of them. Now that he stands on this land, he is plunged into deep self-doubt. In the distance, countless people had sallow complexions, each carrying a small bundle on their back, their eyes filled with numbness towards life. They looked like they were fleeing a disaster. Who exactly said this was a romantic and wonderful era? Nagato wanted to ask what these people were doing, but they only glanced at him, who was dressed neatly and had an elegant demeanor, before frowning and quickening their pace. Having no other option, he bought some food and gave it to these people before he received a reply. They were fleeing. To the left of the land of rivers is the land of wind, and to the right is the land of fire. A sandstorm, a once-in-a-decade event, swept in from the land of wind, while the country was also suffering from a chronic drought. Most of the people in the land of rivers had not reaped a harvest for a whole year, and famine struck. They had no choice but to migrate to the land of fire. Nagato frowned, clearly puzzled. Why is this land of rivers so vulnerable? Didn't any prophecies or weather ninjas foresee the impending disaster when sandstorms struck? Why didn't anyone stop the sandstorm the moment it appeared? Why make things so complicated when 10 wind release Jonin could easily handle it? What does perennial drought mean? You suffer from chronic drought, you could easily fill a river with just 1,000 water-style ninjas. If you want a permanent solution, you could easily extract the groundwater by having hundreds of earth release ninjas burrow underground day and night. Why make something so simple so complicated? Why is no one caring about the tens of thousands of people fleeing the country? What are the leaders of the river country doing? Are your leaders inactive? You can ask water release ninjas to fill in the rivers, earth release ninjas to dig wells in your area, and wind release ninjas to disperse the sandstorms. Chapter 4. Your Majesty, a severe drought has struck the province of Sichuan, and massive sandstorms have swept through many areas. Tsunade held a report to her chest, completely ignoring whether the already deformed delay was uncomfortable. Don't press it down, it'll explode if you do. A slight smile appeared on Tsunade's lips as he placed the document on the table. Okay. I'm referring to that report. Senju Uchiha smiled helplessly as he smelled the alcohol emanating from Tsunade. Went drinking again? What? Are you going to criticize me? What kind of punishment do you want to give me this time? Okay, drink less, it's bad for your health. He didn't understand, because his appearance had already changed Tsunade's fate. My younger brother, Nawaki, didn't die, and my friend, Kato Dan, is still alive. However, Tsunade still developed the habit of drinking. Cough cough. Terumi Mei walked in with some documents, and coughed as she looked at the two people who had been flirting in the office. Do you want to join too? Tsunade extended an invitation. Terumi rolled her eyes at her. Now is not the time, Lord Senju. Regarding the severe drought in Kawano province, I need your signature here. I have already drafted a solution. Although the three of them had played happily here more than once, the priority right now is to be disaster victims. Senju took the document and began to read it, his brow furrowing slightly. The sandstorm has been dealt with by a team of wind release Jonin. Well done. To ensure continued irrigation of farmland and the livelihoods of the people in the river province, approval is hereby granted for 1,000 water release Jonin to carry out river flooding work. An additional 100 earth release Jonin are needed to excavate and reinforce river channels and dig wells in the severely affected areas. Does the deployment of over 1,000 Jonin require my signature? Isn't this a waste of time and manpower? This process needs to be streamlined. From now on, I shouldn't have to sign off on these minor matters. Regarding matters concerning people's livelihoods, the provincial governors have the authority to make decisions, and neighboring provinces must cooperate unconditionally. Yes. Terumi nodded. Have the supplies been approved? Uchiha Senju frowned as he held the document. The first batch of temporary emergency supplies has been delivered by Minato and his team. More supplies from Deidara's Clay Bird squad are on their way and are expected to arrive tonight. Tsunade replied. That's strange, didn't this kid say it would affect his art studies? After learning about the disaster victim's situation, he volunteered to step forward, but his research on nuclear escape may have to come to an end. Tsunade continued. The province of Sichuan has experienced severe droughts several times in recent years. Previously, the problem was addressed by building an interdimensional portal, but it wasn't dealt with properly. Now, we need to solve this problem once and for all. The empire has been established for 20 years, it's a joke that some people are still starving. Contact Dehi and have him take a group of people to Sichuan province to plant trees. The Oasis project in Wind province, which had been stalled, will now resume. Also, for future droughts like the one in the Land of Rivers, prevention is key. Don't wait until it happens and then scramble to find people and food. From now on, all graduating Ninja Academy Water and Earth-style Jonin will be sent to the Land of Rivers for practical training. If a drought occurs in their assigned area, their graduation will be delayed. Yes. The two women were taking notes. Parallel Ninja Worlds. Water Release Ninja? How much would that cost? It must be expensive, right? Young man, you're so knowledgeable, do you know how much it will cost? To be honest, I'm an old woman, and I really don't want to leave my hometown. If it's not too expensive, I'll pool my money with the villagers to hire a water release ninja. Nagato's throat tightened, and her mouth felt dry. The income of a water release jonin, averaged out per day, is probably your monthly income. He calculated it according to the salary of a jonin within the imperial system. That's not much. Our whole village can chip in. Could you help us contact the water release ninja you mentioned? Nagato hesitated for a moment before speaking. I'm afraid you can't afford it. To solve the severe drought in your country, you'd need at least 1,000 water release jonin working continuously for a week. Before he could finish speaking, the old woman collapsed straight down. The person next to him immediately shoved him aside, their face full of anger. Is it really meaningful for you to tease us like this? Why is your heart so wicked at such a young age? You even dare to mock poor people like us? Are you even human? Nagato was puzzled. Why don't your daimyo care about you? Doesn't your country have daimyo? The people nearby sneered. Daiming? They have so much money they could immigrate themselves, why should they care about us? Some people were insulting Nagato, while others, seeing his lack of common sense, instantly realized he was a young master from some powerful family. They then put on a fawning expression and tried to sell him their children. The gentle and soft-hearted Nagato broke down. Human trafficking? The traffickers are the children's parents? This world is beyond saving. Seeing his dazed expression, the elderly people holding children finally couldn't hold back any longer. Sir, please, I beg you. My granddaughter is young, sensible, and obedient. She's willing to serve you like a slave. Please accept her. My lord. My daughter is very beautiful, you can take her home and raise her as your concubine. Anything is acceptable? Selling yourself into slavery. Nagato felt a dryness at the corners of her mouth. They nodded. Good heavens! The abominable system of slavery still exists in this world. What's so good about being a slave? Don't you know that children raised like that will grow up without humanity and dignity? They shook their heads and smiled wryly. If people can't even survive, can dignity put food on the table? Nagato finally developed a deep-seated malice towards those conservatives within this imperial world. Who exactly is saying that the ninja village system is good? Who exactly is spreading rumors that the people live in peace and prosperity under the joint rule of the daimyo and the ninja village? Nagato injected the potion given to him by the emperor into his body, and a powerful force awakened within him. In the distance, Jiraiya watched this scene with a sense of unease. Wait a minute. Is he disillusioned with the world? Jiraiya's heart tightened, and without caring about revealing himself, he instantly appeared in front of Nagato. Of the three, Nagato is the most wavering. It would be very important to bring him to Konoha or to gather some information from him. Jiraiya casually remarked, "Don't be fooled by their current plight. Once they reach the land of fire, plenty of nobles and merchants will be willing to take them in. The talk of selling their children is just a personal act of choosing not to support them. Such a situation doesn't even exist within the land of fire." Upon hearing this, Nagato suppressed the power that was reviving within him. Really? Why were those nobles and merchants willing to accept them? Jiraiya smiled. It was a good thing that the other party was willing to communicate. That must be because the land of fire is rich and powerful, and everyone's heart is filled with love and justice. Jiraiya had intended to say that these people were cheap labor, but he changed his mind before he could finish. Are you new to the land of fire? I think you need a guide. I can show you around and see the culture and scenery of our land of fire. Jiraiya extended an invitation in a very familiar and friendly manner. Nagato hesitated slightly before nodding. Indeed, you can't see anything from just one small detail. I was a bit impulsive just now. Are you a ninja from the land of fire? Upon hearing this, those around him immediately felt as if they were facing a formidable enemy, avoiding him like the plague. Chapter 5. Looking at the dispersing crowd, Nagato couldn't quite understand the deep disgust and fear in their eyes. You must understand that within the Empire, the envy in the eyes of ordinary people when they learn you are a ninja is undeniable. On several occasions when he went on missions, the civilians would try to give him things and gifts in order to establish a connection with him. He felt that the Empire was very corrupt, and that even as a lowly ninja, people were sending him gifts just to get on his good side. But he never expected that ninjas would be so disliked in this world. The disgust and fear in their eyes were almost tangible. He couldn't comprehend that even a low-ranking ninja could be 100 or 1,000 times more productive than an ordinary person. How can something that benefits a large area be disliked? Their reaction is quite normal. The land of rivers doesn't have any ninja villages. Their own ninjas are basically all recruited by their daimyo to control them. That's why they're sensitive and averse to the word ninja. This kind of situation would be impossible in our land of fire. The people hold ninjas in awe. Jiraiya noticed Nagato's brow furrow slightly and explained with a smile. As for me, as you can see, I'm just an ordinary lowly ninja from the land of fire. Nagato was slightly disappointed. The master of this world was so weak, especially when he felt the weak chakra that the other party had inadvertently let out. He shook his head. You must know that in the Empire, Jiraiya's master was given the title of one of the 3 legendary Sunin by the Emperor. His sage power was almost at the 6 paths level. Perhaps I can only compete with him by relying on my newly awakened Rinnegan. And this otherworldly master in front of me can't even do the most basic thing, control my chakras so it doesn't leak out. Seeing Nagato standing there dumbfounded, Jiraiya proudly raised his head, a smile involuntarily creeping onto his lips. Humph, scared by me, huh? Well, that makes sense. My strength surpasses some Kage, if not more. I deliberately let out a sliver of chakras so he could sense it, and that's why I reacted like this. I guess he's stunned to learn that even a lowly ninja like me here possesses this level of power. Hopefully this will deter them from invading. Jiraiya was quite satisfied with his actions just now. His long travels had taught him that the best way to resolve conflicts was to fight without bloodshed. For example, how my cunning actions at this moment intimidate the other party. I still don't know your name. Seeing that the other person was still in a daze, Jiraiya asked a question. Me? You can call me Nagato. Nagato. Jiraiya frowned, but quickly relaxed. Yes, they all claim to be from a parallel world, so it's not a problem that they have the same name and appearance as their apprentice. However, Jiraiya was curious about one thing: they had the same name, looked the same, and we're even about the same age. What are the differences between that parallel world and our own? Nagato, we of the Land of Fire are very hospitable. Where would you like to begin learning about our Land of Fire? Nagato was not averse to this otherworldly master who was outwardly showing goodwill but was actually testing him. Having someone guide you is definitely better than blindly guessing on your own. Moreover, after sensing the aura he had just unleashed, he stepped forward without fear. Doesn't this demonstrate his outstanding self-sacrifice and patriotism? A Land of Fire where even the lowest-ranking ninja possesses such a spirit of sacrifice must be a wonderful place, right? I did act impulsively just now. How could I, someone destined to save the world, be so short-sighted? With this thought in mind, Nagato spoke, I want to go to the capital of the Land of Fire first, and then go to Konoha village. Jiraiya's heart tightened. So, they haven't given up on the idea of intrusion after all? After wandering the world for many years, Jiraiya made a decision in an instant. He decided to communicate with Nagato more during the journey and see if he could persuade him to extract more information from him. If his mind doesn't change in the end, then we must plan an ambush to capture him. We absolutely cannot let him bring war and disaster to Konoha. Konoha village, Hokage building. The former second Hokage's guards, now the Konoha's F4, have all gathered together. Besides Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura, the two powerful Kage, there are also Koharu Yudatan and Homura Mitokado, two old, short-sighted culinary gods. They were now discussing with serious expressions the information they had just obtained from the summoning toad of Mount Maiboku, which came from Jiraiya. Hiruzen, are you sure this isn't some material for Jiraiya's novel that was sent to the wrong place? Hiruzen Sarutobi, puffing away on a large opium pipe, had cloudy eyes. Danzo, do you really believe in parallel universes? Danzo narrowed his eyes, remaining silent. To be honest, even if I were in their position, I would never have heard of any parallel worlds. However, based on their experience gained over their long lifespans, the existence of three great immortal realms and countless immortals and gods suggests that the concept of parallel universes may indeed be true. Based on Jiraiya-sama's condition at the time, this should be true, because his expression was extremely serious, and we were indeed in the Valley of the End, where I could definitely sense three extremely powerful chakras. The toad added at this moment. Because of Jiraiya, Mount Maiboku has always maintained a good relationship with Konoha. Alright, whatever the reason, since we already knew the situation beforehand, there shouldn't be any major consequences. After all, they're just three ninjas with suspected cage-level strength. Koharu, turning to her new room, spoke indifferently. The current Konoha can't even muster a single full-fledged cage-level character, but her words suggest she doesn't even care about three cage-level characters. Danzo, you will continue to be in charge of investigating this matter. If you can capture and interrogate them with minimal losses, that would be ideal. If not, release the information. We can't let Konoha bear the burden of this so-called threat from a parallel universe. Mitoke-ku inflammation is also something she doesn't pay much attention to. The ninja world is currently in turmoil. How strong could a ninja from this parallel world possibly be? Furthermore, would the cost of such a journey be so easy to bear? The current situation in the ninja world is dire. The emergence of a new world might allow them to shift their conflicts outwards, thus alleviating their internal strife. Leave this matter to me, we will give you all a satisfactory answer. But since you're all here, I have a question I'd like to ask the Hokage. Danzo spoke, his gaze turning sinister as he looked at the third Hokage. As far as I know, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki has left the village. Hokage, aren't you going to give me an explanation? Hiruzen Sarutobi slowly exhaled a breath of stale air, saying nonchalantly, people always need to grow. Don't worry, with Kakashi watching over things, nothing will go wrong. Thinking of Kakashi's eye and his strength, Danzo snorted coldly. That would be for the best. Jinkriki are the village's greatest asset in maintaining balance with other villages. I don't want anything to happen to him. If you don't have the ability to train him, you can hand him over to Root. I will make him a qualified weapon of war. After saying this, Guo Ying stood up and his figure slowly disappeared from the spot. Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed and muttered to himself. After all, he's the descendant of a hero. Chapter 6. Swoosh. 3 Kunao flew towards Kakashi. A flicker of disgust flashed in Kakashi's deadpan eyes. Wait, what's your strength? You've even become wandering ninjas. Kakashi, isn't this world too chaotic? Before Dato's eyes had even fully transformed into 3 Tomo, the dozens of wandering ninjas before him were already immersed in his Sharingan's genjutsu. Their strength is inferior to our empire's elementary school graduated ninjas, yet they dare to come out and try to rob and possess people. They're truly defying the heavens. Dato couldn't stop complaining, and Kakashi sighed helplessly. Tell me, what year is it? How strong are any of you? Are there many wandering ninjas like you? Kakashi asked a ninja who was being controlled by Dato's genjutsu. The ninja seemed dazed and subconsciously replied, It's Konoha year 64 now. The strongest among us is Doma, his strength rivals that of a Chunin. There are many wandering ninjas like us on the borders of the land of fire. Most people here are poor and weak. Even if they suffer all kinds of bullying, they don't have the money to go to Konoha to post missions. After all, a C-rank mission requires 30,000 to 100,000 copper coins. Dai-Tu's eyes widened upon hearing this. Does this mean that civilians have to go and distribute missions themselves? Doesn't the daimyo of the land of fire care? Why should the daimyo care about the lives of ordinary people? If they were willing to care, we wouldn't be wandering ninjas. Dai-Tu smacked his lips. Kakashi, these daimyo here are even more beasts than our Lord Senju. I thought our emperor was stingy enough, but these daimyo are truly bastards. Kakashi frowned. Dato, watch your words. The emperor is stingy only because the empire needs funds for new construction projects and for developing interdimensional ninjutsu to build teleportation portals. When have you ever seen the emperor indulge in extravagance? Hey? Isn't that extravagant? The emperor said monogamy was good, but then he turned around and killed both Tsunade-sama and Terumi-sama. Kakashi was taken aback for a moment upon hearing this. The emperor's position does indeed have a negative impact, but there are many political factors involved. You can't judge so easily just based on the 2 lords' looks. Dato rolled his eyes at Kakashi. I'm not interested at all, I only love linear. Alright, now let me ask you, which country is currently the weakest? The weakest should be the land of water. I've seen a map before, they're surrounded by sea and completely isolated, with no contact with other ninja villages. You almost never see Kirigakure ninjas outside. Even the renowned 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist become nothing more than a lucky charm after encountering a Konoha ninja. Having gathered enough information, Dato activated his 3 Tomo Sharingan Genjutsu, and the group immediately committed seppuku. To be honest, I felt no guilt whatsoever about dealing with these guys, in fact, I felt like I'd dirted my hands. But Kakashi, it's strange, really. Why would a bunch of genin dare to become bandits? I truly feel sorry for the common people of this world. A perfectly good life can be destroyed and families ruined because of the greed of a group of people. This would be impossible in the empire, but here it is as normal as eating and drinking. Within the empire, every ninja is registered, your identity information, home address, and everything else are all listed there. Even the ninjutsu you know and the ninja tools you possess need to be updated from time to time. It is illegal for unregistered ninjas to use ninjutsu and ninja tools indiscriminately. Many people angrily criticized the ninjas for having no human rights or privacy, arguing that having to disclose everything to the empire was a complete violation of their right to privacy. At the time, the emperor also didn't understand and soon joined in the cursing. But now, the situation has made him rethink the deeper meaning behind the emperor's actions. The last robbery by wandering ninjas within the empire was 3 years ago. The laws within the empire are extremely strict. Unregistered ninjas who dare to harm innocent civilians are either detained for reformation or have their chakra completely destroyed and their acupoints sealed, and their descendants are forbidden from practicing ninjutsu for 3 generations. As a result, many ninjas cursed the emperor for losing their privileges, and when the policy was first introduced, a group of them plotted to massacre several villages, including some ninjas with bloodline limits. Everyone knows that the emperor cherishes talent the most, and he values powerful individuals with bloodline limits even more. But to everyone's utter surprise, the emperor treated them without hesitation the same way they treated commoners. Even in death, these people were shocked as to why, as powerful beings with bloodline limits, they were less than a group of commoners in the emperor's eyes. Now, looking at the statue of human heads in the distance, where the heads of men, women, children, and the elderly were casually placed, the two instantly understood. Once privileges are granted, people will exercise their maximum power without any scruples. How can an empire remain stable under such circumstances? Unification was indeed the right thing to do. Emperors were truly great. The two men's views on the empire and the emperor underwent a profound change. All right, Dato, what we need to do next is to speed up the task assigned by the emperor. The errors in this world have become quite entrenched. Now, let's head to the land of waves to board the ship to the land of water, and begin our conquest from there. Kakashi gave the order. The land of water's closed-off policy is perfect for the two of them to act together. With enough tailed beasts or a large amount of chakra materials gathered, they can build a portal connecting to their original world based on the blueprints provided by the emperor. The water-rich country's own policy of isolationism also serves to prevent alerting the enemy now. With more powerful imperial figures arriving, conquering this world will be much easier. The two of them entered the Land of Waves region without any hesitation. Perhaps because the Land of Waves was indeed poor, they didn't even encounter any more wandering ninjas. Furthermore, because the people here live by the sea and can fish, the situation is relatively much less common compared to the majority of the people in the Land of Fire who are emaciated due to poor harvests. According to the merchants we met on the road, there's a merchant named Kato in the Land of Waves who has a ship to the Land of Water. It seems we should go and meet him first. Kakashi spoke. They have the ability to cross oceans, but that would consume chakra and could easily affect subsequent plans. Resting on a boat and maintaining their physical condition is naturally the best option. Yes, but before that, we need to get rid of that little mouse that's following us. Dato's Sharingan glanced casually at a tree behind him. As former classmates and childhood best friends, Kakashi immediately understood what the other meant. The next moment, Kakashi appeared under the tree that Dato had seen, and before Jiraiya could react, a gleaming blade slid across his neck. Immediately afterward, the sonic boom from the dagger cutting through the air reached his ears. Bang! A burst of white mist dissipated, and Jiraiya's shadow clone was instantly wiped out before he could even react. Chapter 7. The Land of Fire. Jiraiya and Nagato were speeding through the forest when suddenly his expression changed, and he stumbled, almost falling off a treetop. What's wrong, Jiraiya? Nagato stopped and asked. Oh, it's nothing, just my old problem flaring up. Just then, the nano bracelet in Nagato's hand flickered. Nagato narrowed his eyes and poured chakra into it. Under Jiraiya's shocked gaze, he processed the projection of memories brought back by the shadow clone. Those two people, devils. Especially Kakashi from that parallel world, his swordsmanship is exactly the same as that of Sakumo Hatake, the White Fang of Konoha who was forced to his death by his teacher, the third Hokage, and the entire village. No. His swordsmanship is several times stronger than Sakumo's. His shadow clones were stronger than even the average Jonin, yet they were beheaded in a single strike before he could even react. And how do they communicate so easily right now? A sense of foreboding flashed through Jiraiya's mind. He now had a deeper understanding of the empire they spoke of. Hey, Nagato, we're being followed. It's a shadow clone. I reckon the real one is somewhere nearby. Be careful. Kakashi's voice came from inside the nano bracelet. Okay, I understand. Nagato glanced at Jiraiya out of the corner of his eye, and Jiraiya immediately felt his hair stand on end, as if facing a formidable enemy. Nagato looked at Jiraiya with a smile. Is there anything that needs explaining? Having mastered all 6 chakra natures, he had already sensed Jiraiya's transformation when he used the transformation technique, but in order to avoid causing further bloodshed, he did not expose him immediately. Jiraiya, however, remained composed. He lowered his head, his voice hoarse and deep. I'm sorry, I didn't follow you with any malicious intent. You just happened to arrive right next to me, and as a member of the Konoha ninja, I couldn't remain indifferent. I've heard your talk of unification and empire. I cannot accept you bringing war to our world. Our world has finally achieved a brief period of peace, and I do not want the disaster of people being displaced and losing their companions to strike again. Jiraiya spoke very sincerely. I can clearly feel your goodwill, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to easily engulf our world in war. To be honest, I have a disciple who looks exactly like you, also named Nagato. The moment you appeared, I felt an instant connection with him. Jiraiya began using his persuasive skills to win over the two, attempting to stabilize their relationship in this way. If you don't mind, I'd like to show you more about our world, and then you can decide whether to bring war into our world, okay? Our world is already bad enough. I truly cherish this hard-won peace. After saying this, Jiraiya solemnly bowed to Nagato. Nagato is notoriously susceptible to talk no jutsu, especially when the one doing it is his master from a parallel universe. Naruto's few words of persuasion were enough to make him abandon his lifelong ideal of using the Rain rebirth to revive everyone in Konoha. How much more so when his master is now bowing deeply in obeisance. Nagato's heart tightened, and he quickly went to help Jiraiya up. He was, after all, an enemy and an invader, yet Jiraiya bowed so deeply to him just for the sake of peace? Nagato sighed, realizing that he had come with a mission and a standard to judge this world. He helped Jiraiya up, his expression somber. I'm sorry, some things are beyond my control. You will continue to be my guide. If your world meets the standards, I will do my best to prevent war and try my utmost to secure cooperation between the Emperor and you. Nagato had intended to say that if things reached a certain point, it wouldn't be unreasonable for him to side with them. But when he thought of the scene of encountering that group of refugees, he kept those words to himself and didn't say them aloud. As for persuading the Emperor, over the years, every measure implemented by the Emperor was said to be discussed, but in reality, the group of former shadows, now provincial governors, tried to dissuade and stop him. However, whatever the Emperor decided, it seemed to be carried out with iron-fisted determination. Can I really persuade that Emperor who won't listen to reason? Seeing Nagato fall silent again, Jiraiya tentatively asked, shall we continue our journey to the capital of the Land of Fire? Nagato nodded. Let's go. Land of Waves. Kakashi and Dato finally escaped the desolate wilderness and arrived at a town. This town may be small, but it has everything it needs. As dusk approached, the two decided to gather information there to confirm the fleet's location and depart early the next morning. The two walked and stopped frequently, and soon they stopped at a bookstore. Dato looked at Kakashi with a wicked smile. If you want it, just go for it. Don't hold back. Kakashi gave a sullen hum, then walked into the bookstore, leaving behind an explanation, I'm just here to gather information. Dato watched the people coming and going and took a deep breath. The sky was the same, the earth was the same, but he wondered how he himself was doing in this world. With your talent level, you should be quite famous in Konoha, right? Seeing that Kakashi hadn't come out for a while, Dato impatiently went inside. Hey Kakashi, it's just buying a copy of Jinping Mei, why is it taking so long? Kakashi is currently arguing with his boss. The shop owner, his face somewhat grim, looked at Kakashi and replied solemnly, I'm sorry, sir. We don't have any of those charming women you're talking about. This is a bookstore, not a brothel. Kakashi's face also darkened. I'm not talking about prostitutes, I'm talking about books with women. Think again, Jinping Mei. The boss shook his head. I'm sorry, I don't have any gold, let alone silver. What about my ex-father? If all else fails, my female roommate will do. Kakashi was getting anxious. He'd forgotten to exchange the book he was holding in his haste, and he knew its contents by heart. How could he possibly absorb anything without a new one? Sorry, I don't have any. Kakashi was struck dumb by these words, and stood there stunned. For the first time, even this usually composed and meticulous man had the idea of invading the world. Not even these? Are you kidding me? This is definitely a flawed world in need of correction. Kakashi found it hard to believe that, let alone entertainment like photo scrolls, there weren't even any good books to read. Entertainment is the foundation of a world's development, this is just one example, and it seems this world is truly beyond saving. Dato lingered in front of the bookshelf for a long time, and knowing Kakashi's reserved nature well, he quickly found a book and handed it to Kakashi. Look, this must be a specialty of this world. Kakashi, his face ashen as if he had lost his parents, glanced at Dato and, seeing the solemn expression on Dato's face, picked up the book. Intimacy Paradise. Chapter 8. Seeing Kakashi so engrossed in watching the book as if it were a treasure, Dato sighed helplessly. Hehe, you certainly have a discerning eye. This is a masterpiece by Jiraiya. It's a bestseller in every major country, it's said that the number of copies sold could circle the ninja world 7 times. Alright boss, pack all of this type up and take them with you. Dato took out the money he had just obtained from killing those wandering ninjas. Those people probably never imagined that the money they worked so hard to earn would be used to buy adult books. Looking at Kakashi, who was immersed in the world of the book, Dato sighed. I wonder what Kakashi is like in this world. So reserved and always wearing a mask, he probably isn't as popular as me. However, the two had just stepped outside when they heard a shrill sound. Kakashi-sensei. So you've been here. Naruto's excited voice rang out from behind, and as the two turned around, the 3 members of Team 7 appeared in front of them. The 2 men looked at the short man with blonde hair, wearing faded yellow clothes, and with mottled fox whiskers on his face. Before he could get a good look at the 3 of them, Naruto's voice rang out again. Hey! Kakashi-sensei, you look quite handsome without covering your eyes. However, when he noticed the book in Kakashi's hand, he curled his lip and looked at Kakashi with disdain. What the hell, Kakashi-sensei? You told us to gather intelligence, but you ended up doing it yourself. What boring adults! Naruto glanced at the Make-out Paradise comic in Kakashi's hand, expressing his resentment that while he and the other 2 were assigned to gather intelligence, he was the only one who secretly sneaked out to buy adult comics. Dato and Kakashi exchanged a glance, both realizing that something was off about the young man in front of them. There seems to be an extremely large amount of chakra within him, but it's currently sealed. It's hard to say. Dato's Sharingan activated, and he transmitted the information telepathically to Kakashi. This was invented by the Emperor, it allows for the transmission of sound by utilizing the interconnection of chakra at close range. Now it's coming in very handy. Judging from the situation, I seem to be their teacher. As expected, the ninja village system still maintains the 3-person 1-teacher leadership model. Dato, I'll try to calm them down and see if I can learn more about the situation. Behind Naruto, Sakura Haruno was staring blankly at Sasuke, whose pupils had contracted sharply and who was in a daze. That's Uchiha clothing, he's an Uchiha. That's right. Those Sharingan. The 3 Tomo Sharingan, these are the eyes unique to the Uchiha clan. Sasuke was initially excited, but then quickly calmed down. How's it going? How's the intelligence gathering coming along? Kakashi asked the question. Kakashi-sensei, you only just parted ways with us, and you're already asking how our intelligence gathering is going? Sakura, Sasuke, and I just finished discussing our plan. Naruto told everything in detail. So the guy behind him is called Sasuke? Is he Fuya's son? He's also wearing Uchiha clothes, and he does look somewhat like our empire's Sasuke, but unfortunately, his demeanor is far inferior, and his strength barely meets the minimum requirement for a genin within the empire. Dato and Kakashi communicated telepathically. As for this Sakura, she's relatively unknown. Kakashi, do you know her? Kakashi shook his head. And this blonde kid? He looks a bit like Minato-sensei's son, but the difference is too great. Just looking at his appearance alone, the difference is significant, and their strength is even more incomparable. Dai-tu complained. Both Sasuke and Akito were renowned twin stars within the empire. Sasuke was already incredibly skilled with shuriken at the age of 4, his Sharingan awakened to 2 Tomo at 5, and he directly awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan at 8. His talent far surpassed that of his older brother, Yu. He passed the Chunin exams at the age of 6, became a Jonin in the same year he awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan at the age of 8, and exchanged Mangekyo Sharingan with his older brother Yu at the age of 12, thus achieving the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. His strength is now approaching that of the 6 paths. Akito is no less talented than Sasuke, his father is Minato Namikaze, and his mother is a descendant of the Uzumaki clan, the purest bloodline of the red-haired clan. Compared to Sasuke, Akito had already passed the genin exams at the age of 4 and was proficient in using various ninjutsu. He possesses the powerful chakra of the Uzumaki clan and the strong genetic power of Minato Namikaze, which allows him to change his red hair to blonde. He also inherited Minato's talent. His inexhaustible chakra allowed him to freely use shadow clones, comprehend the profound principles of the universe, and research various ninjutsu. At just 10 years old, he broke through to the cage level, and his wind release, Rai's Nan was even more powerful than the tailed beast ball, allowing him to fight the 9 tails one-on-one without being at a disadvantage. Compared to Sasuke, Akito was more popular with the teachers and female students at school. His looks, which were comparable to Minato's, made him a favorite among everyone at school. Gentle and elegant, handsome and dashing were his defining characteristics. The two of them have now been taken away by the Emperor for training, supposedly to help them comprehend the power of the 6 paths. But what about the world? Look at Naruto, that short, ugly guy, yet he blurts out all the information in a few careless words without any warning. That Sasuke was the same, besides his good looks, he had nothing else. He stared at the two of them timidly and warily, lacking any of the aura of the twin stars of the empire. Needless to say, their strength is undeniable. Kakashi, this world seems even worse than it appears to us. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Kakashi explained, "Oh, I just saw a suspicious person here and chased after them." This excuse can effectively conceal the presence of Dai-tu beside him. If they don't know Dato. Sure enough, Sasuke asked the next moment, "Kakashi-sensei, who is this person next to you?" Sasuke's words carried a hint of anger. Since this person has awakened the 3 Tomo Sharingan, his strength must be considerable. Why didn't he intervene to save his clan during the massacre? In Sasuke's mind, being able to awaken the 3 Tomo form was already an extremely powerful ability. After all, back then only his brother Itachi and his father, among other strong individuals in the clan, possessed the 3 Tomo form. He only unlocked the first Megatama on the night his clan was wiped out. Oh? Him. Kakashi smiled, as expected, his words had a slight effect. This is a good friend of mine named Dato. I came here because of him. As a man, a strange competitive and materialistic urge arose. He couldn't accept that people knew Kakashi but not him. I am Uchiha Dato. I awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan at a young age, and my eye power is the extremely useful dual Kamui. I cannot remain unknown in Konoha. You should know that he was famous throughout 5 provinces of the empire. He smiled at Sasuke and tentatively asked, Sasuke? Don't you recognize me? Sasuke frowned and shook his head. Dato was secretly delighted. So it really was called Sasuke. Then his judgment was correct. Dai too, with a familiar smile, said, Hee, I was talking about you with your father the other day. How's your dad? Remember to give him my regards when you have time. Chapter 9. Naruto swallowed hard, looking at Kakashi in disbelief, only to find that the latter showed no intention of stopping him. He then looked at Sakura, whose face was full of anger and whose fists were clenched. As for Sasuke? Although he had lowered his head and was trembling all over, Naruto could see that his Sharingan with 1 tomo had appeared in his eyes. There's even a hint that it's developing into a 2-tomo jade. Seeing the unusual reactions from the 3 people after hearing this, Dai too frowned slightly. Did I say something wrong? But then he suddenly realized. I understand. I get it. Got it. I understand everything. Fuyu has always been very strict with his 2 children, and as the leader of the Uchiha clan, he naturally feels immense pressure every day. If his 2 children don't live up to his expectations and consolidate his rule, it's inevitable that he will become authoritative and cold. According to the algorithm, the time in both worlds is almost the same, Konoha 64. However, this happened 20 years ago. In Konoha 44, the empire changed dynasties, and now the empire is 20 years old. The 2 are basically the same year. The Sasuke in the empire is currently 12 years old, and the Sasuke in this world should also be 12 years old. At 12 years old, he was barely even a genin, so it's understandable that his relationship with Uchiha Fuyutsu was so poor. Upon realizing this, Dai too immediately gave himself a thumbs up for his cleverness. His older brother, Yu, doted on him since childhood. Even though he lacked talent, Yu wasn't the type to put pressure on his younger brother. Within the empire, Yu was the type who wanted everyone around him to live an easy life, willing to bear everything himself. So, the Yu in this world must be similar, right? Dato, a man of meticulous mind, glanced smugly at Kakashi. Hee, everyone says that I, Dato, am cynical, ignorant, and only managed to graduate from Imperial University thanks to my Mangekyo Sharingan. I don't usually like to use my brain, but now I understand the real truth of the matter, Kakashi. Open your eyes wide and watch my move. Sasuke, don't be so discouraged. Your father did that for your own good. How's your brother doing lately? He was sparring with me the other day. Seeing the 3 people trembling and silent, Dai too was puzzled. Did I say something wrong again? Hey! UBD! You even joke about dead people. Do you have any humanity left? Naruto roared and cursed. Although he often played pranks, he would never joke about dead people. Kakashi-sensei. What kind of friend is this? Sakura, though usually rational, was finding it hard to stay calm. She looked at Kakashi with resentment, hoping he would step in and uphold justice. As for Sasuke, he was now completely flushed. That man! That man! His face was flushed red with anger, more so than if he had drunk 3 bottles of baijiu. He raised his head, and the single tomo in his eye had turned into a double tomo after the extreme emotional outburst. Normally, it should have started during the battle with Bai, but it's happened a few days earlier. The next moment, Sasuke disappeared from the spot, and when he reappeared, he was already holding a kunai and stabbing it towards Dato's kidney. Hey! Kid! Don't be so impulsive. Dato instinctively used one hand to clamp down on the hand that Suzuki was using to stab with the kunao. He was stunned. What the hell? Dead? Who died? Is it Uchiha Fuyu? Fuyu is dead? He was the head of a clan, a veteran powerhouse in the empire, possessing strength surpassing even the cage level. He could even activate the eternal kaleidoscope and cleave through 5 cage in a Gundam-like form. Even when severely injured, he would be surrounded by a group of Uchiha clan members who would fight desperately to protect him. Who could kill him? Who could possibly kill him? Is this world really so rich and prosperous? Are you kidding me? Scumbag! Where is that scumbag? Speak! Did he send you? Even with his 2-tomo sword activated, Suzuki couldn't see how his opponent made the move. By the time he realized it, his hand was clamped tightly in a vice, rendering him completely immobile. He used both fists and feet, but unfortunately, his opponent didn't even glance at him, let alone have Sharingan. Relying solely on instinctive movements, the opponent blocked all of his attacks and even subdued him, rendering him powerless. How is that possible? UBD. Sasuke's pupils contracted sharply. He knew that even Kakashi-sensei had to put in considerable effort to stop him during the Chunin exams. Now that he had awakened his 2-tomo form, how much stronger was he compared to before? Why were they able to stop us so easily? At this moment, only his mouth could move. Just as he was thinking about how to escape, his good buddy Naruto had already launched a furious attack on Dato. Go to hell! UBD who loves to joke about dead people. While Dato was still wondering who this scumbag Suzuki was talking about the next moment, while he was distracted by Naruto's attack, a sharp pain suddenly shot through his hand. Ouch, it hurts! He spoke with heart-wrenching force, slapping Naruto away with all his might, then tried to shake Suzuki off. Seeing Naruto lying motionless in the distance, his head stuck straight in the ground, Dato was startled. Is he dead? Suzuki was still clinging to him, and he was afraid that he would accidentally kill this boy from the same clan if he slapped him. Helpless, he could only activate Kamui. The kaleidoscope flashed by. Ding! Before Suzuki could even process why the other person had suddenly lost all feeling, his upper and lower teeth collided violently and nearly shattered. That almost gave him a concussion. Before Dato could even complain, we're all from the same root, why are we fighting each other so fiercely? He rushed off to check on Naruto, who was lying upside down in the ground, unconscious. Sakura was terrified. When she came to her senses, she glanced at Naruto, who had been saved by Dato, and instead of helping him, she helped Suzuki up to check if he was injured anywhere. In her heart, Suzuki was more important, and besides, with her teacher's friend around, what could possibly happen to Naruto? Kakashi sighed and rubbed his forehead. Dato! What a useless, incompetent BD! Are you suggesting I speak recklessly without knowing anything? In the end, won't I still have to resort to those eyes of yours, which you despise yet have no choice but to rely on? However, Kakashi had already noticed the details in the words just spoken. He had come to this world to investigate and thought it was insignificant, but now he realized he was so wrong. The common people here say that even ninjas, even genin, go to the battlefield to kill enemies, but that doesn't mean that the high-level combat power in this world is weak. While genin within the empire might only be responsible for delivering food and farming, in this world, they are honed on the battlefield from the very beginning. How could ninjas forged in mountains of corpses and seas of blood possibly be inferior to their counterparts in the empire? Didn't you see that even the 26th head of the Uchiha clan could perish and die? It seems the secrets hidden in this world are more complex than they appear on the surface. Otherwise, how could such powerful beings perish unless their lifespan is nearing its end? Kakashi's gaze was fixed on the gradually solidifying earth. Dato, it seems you're not entirely useless, at least this time we've discovered a great secret of this world. Chapter 10. Kakashi. Dai-Tu's face was grave. Although his instinctive attack had nearly brought the brat to the brink of death, his injuries were now healing at a visible speed. Such an astonishing recovery speed made Dai-Tu narrow his eyes. Kakashi, having received the telepathic message, squinted and scrutinized Naruto. This chakra, according to the information the Emperor gave us, this should be a unique evil weapon under the ninja village system, the Jinchuriki. Kakashi made a calm assessment. What? I thought it was just talk. Dai-Tu suddenly felt a chill. Let such a huge monster mate with you and enter your body. Not to mention that, although the tailed beasts within the Empire can mate with anyone who has mastered the techniques provided by the Emperor, those are still at the cage level. Those below the cage level are basically easy to turn into useless people who only know how to rely on the tailed beast's power under the influence of the tailed beast's berserk chakra. Furthermore, beings below the level of cage cannot control the power of the tailed beasts. Various sealing techniques must be applied to their bodies to control them. However, this would cause immense harm to one's body and severely hinder the development of one's future potential. But this lowly genin actually has a tailed beast inside him? Putting aside this feudal era, even in this war-torn world without a unified central government, isn't it the same as a child carrying a gold brick and flaunting it in the street when you, a low-ranking ninja, possess a tailed beast? What were his parents thinking? How could they allow such heinous human experimentation to be performed on their children? Do they really not care about the child's qualifications? There was a suggestion in the Empire to seal the tailed beasts and humans together from childhood so they could grow up together. But the Emperor had told them a story, the main characters of which were a famous man and his left assistant. It is said that in another world, the tailed beast was sealed inside Naruto's body from a young age, and in the end, he could only barely fight Sasuke to a draw by relying on the power of the 9 tails. Everyone laughed and said it was impossible. Who was the Ming dynasty figure? How could the Uzumaki clan, with their formidable chakra and extraordinary comprehension inherited from Minato, and being the reincarnation of Ashura, possibly rely on the 9 tails to barely manage a fight against someone like Sasuke who only relied on his eyesight, and even lose an arm in the process? It's important to understand that Ashura's reincarnation is inherently far more gifted than Indra's. Didn't you see that even Madara, in his previous reincarnation, with the 9 tails, was no match for Hashirama? However, the Emperor said that the tailed beast's immense power would make people subconsciously choose to exploit and rely on it. Once they got used to the miracles that could be achieved through brute force, they would be unwilling to learn ninjutsu or anything like that. Although what they said made sense, no one really believed that the story's Akito Rei's Nan required the use of shadow clones to create it. How much chakra would that waste? At this moment, Dai-Tu recalled the story the Emperor had once told, and the shock in his eyes lingered for a long time. The Emperor, did he really just make up a story? Shirato, this is, the 8 trigram seal. This chakra, it must be from the 9 tails. Kakashi's words were also full of disbelief, clearly indicating that he had also thought of the story about the tailed beasts that Emperor Ginseng had once told. The two exchanged a glance, a look of excitement flashing in their eyes. Now that we've obtained the 9 tails, the rest of the journey will be much easier. It's important to know that tailed beasts are also a crucial resource for building interdimensional portals. Dato, don't say anything from now on. Let me extract information from them. Once I've confirmed everything's in order, we'll prepare to act. Hearing Kakashi's chakra transmission, Dato gave a haughty snort. Sasuke, and Akito, my friend just wanted to test your strength, he meant no harm. Kakashi scratched his head, adopting a meek and submissive demeanor. Humph. Kakashi-sensei, don't try to excuse him. The Uchiha massacre happened so many years ago, even I know that, how could he not know? Naruto got up from the ground, ignoring Sasuke's murderous glare. Dato. Apologize to them now. Kakashi reprimanded him. Dai-Tu also bowed sincerely. I'm sorry everyone, I haven't been back to Konoha for too long, what I just said was really. At this point, Dato took a deep breath, and then a cold glint appeared in his eyes. I didn't know the Uchiha clan was wiped out. But Sasuke, rest assured, I will give all the Uchiha clan members an explanation for the massacre. The mission is more important right now. I need to get to Sasuke right now and ask him how the Uchiha clan could have been wiped out. Who? No. Which bunch of bastards did this? I'll make them pay for this in blood. The dignity of the Uchiha clan must not be insulted. Not even in a parallel world. In Dato's mind, no one could destroy the Uchiha clan, only a powerful and renowned force could do so. Sasuke snorted coldly, but a hint of emotion flickered in his indifferent eyes. Should we send him to seek revenge? His strength? No. Itaki. I will avenge you myself. I will defeat you myself. Power. I am still too weak. I need absolute power that can wipe out everything. He still harbored deep hatred for this Uchiha clansman before him. Where were you on the night of the massacre? However, after considering the man's strength, he became discouraged again. What's the point of him coming? Can he be a match for Itaki? He didn't even activate his Mangekyo Sharingan just now. That's true. The Mangekyo Sharingan can only be awakened by exceptionally talented individuals within a clan. He's just a wandering Uchiha, whether he even knows about the Mangekyo Sharingan is probably questionable. Kakashi glanced at everyone, considered his words carefully, and then spoke, "All right, Akito, you said you were gathering information. How's the gathering going?" Kakashi decided to try and extract information from the seemingly simple-minded Ming man in front of him. As expected, Naruto hadn't taken anything that had just happened to heart, but when Kakashi asked him, he couldn't wait to tell him. Kakashi-sensei. According to the information we just gathered, Tajuna was right, Nagato is a truly wicked BD. Naruto gritted his teeth as he spoke. Kakashi's brain was working at lightning speed. Is this a ninja mission? This system is indeed good, even now, various academies are still using it, but it's quite different from what it used to be. The missions at the Ninja Academy are now mostly selected through multiple rounds of screening, which can enrich their practical experience. These missions are long and tedious, and were renamed internships as early as the 10th year of the Empire. Kakashi and Dato had heard a little about the mission system from the Ninja Village era. It was said that people would abandon morality and ethics and do anything for money. For the sake of the mission, they would even disregard the lives of their family and comrades. Based on the information the two had gathered along the way, many wandering ninjas defected from their villages because they didn't want to be treated like dogs by those useless daimyo despite their strength, they didn't want to do missions, and they didn't want to become cold machines. In their view, the ninja village mission system was a complete cancer. It was one of the triggers that bound ninjas and intensified conflicts during wars. After exchanging messages telepathically, Kakashi nodded. Okay, let's continue with the mission. Based on the current situation, it's highly likely that this version of myself from this parallel universe is also present, able to protect the Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Perhaps this version of myself is even stronger than I am. With this thought in mind, Kakashi decided to take Dato without alerting the three people in front of him to a secluded place first. Just then, a voice rang out, making their hearts tighten. Oh? So you're here. Chapter 11. Dejuna? You actually came. Naruto pursed his lips. Seeing the 2 bottles of wine in the other person's hand, he couldn't help but feel annoyed. You have money for drinking, but not for hiring us? Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed the person in front of him was the one who issued the mission. All we need to do next is lure them a little further away and gather as much information as possible along the way, and we'll be absolutely safe. Just as Kakashi was painstakingly trying to lead them away, Kakashi had already tracked them all the way to the bookstore. Oh? You're here again, sir. The bookstore owner greeted me warmly. He glanced at the American bully on the ground, chuckled, and playfully purred it a couple of times. However, when he saw the other person's indifferent gaze, he gave an awkward laugh. Damn it, you even put a dog on. Kakashi's brows furrowed, and his heart tightened. Here we go again. How many people were I just with? Where did they go? The bookstore owner was a little confused, but he patiently explained. You just came to the bookstore with someone and bought a few books by Jiraiya-sama. Then 3 little kids and an old man came in at the door. You were discussing something when you walked over there. Upon hearing this, Kakashi felt a surge of disappointment and frustration. You even bought a make-out paradise just to impersonate me. Naruto, Sasuke, didn't you two ever suspect that the other person might be using a transformation jutsu? Damn it, I overestimated you. You clearly received relevant training. Kakashi silently prayed that the 3 of them would be alright, then looked at Puck. Parker. Chase him. Pakun, looking like a dog and just as lifeless as Kakashi, nodded and then sped off towards Naruto. However, Kakashi, who was speeding along, soon saw the group of 6 ahead. Naruto. Sasuke. Get out of the way. The person arrived before the voice did. Earth release. Earth Dragon Bullet. Kakashi formed hand seals, and then an Earth Dragon emerged from the muddy ground. The next moment, the Earth Dragon spat out clumps of rapidly moving mud that attacked Daigo and Kakashi. This was done to cover Sasuke and Naruto's escape first. Upon hearing Kakashi's words, the 2 on the other side immediately understood everything and began to distance themselves from Kakashi. Sasuke narrowed his eyes, picked up a kunao, and stared warily at the 2 of them. No wonder. No wonder a complete stranger suddenly appeared and started insulting my whole family. It seems this person is an imposter of Kakashi-sensei. But what kind of transformation technique were these 2 using? Why couldn't my Sharingan detect it? Kakashi was completely stunned when the 2 turned around. So alike. Absolutely so. There was no trace of transformation magic on either of them, or perhaps, they couldn't see through it. The person opposite me looked almost exactly like me, even down to that melancholy air and those lifeless eyes. No. He has eyes. Kakashi was shocked. And that person next to him. So alike. Absolutely so. The figure from my memory resurfaced, that comrade who had shaken my resolve to absolutely obey the mission. That Obito who gave his eyes to someone else at Konobe Bridge. If Obito were still alive, he would probably look exactly like him, right? That person is exactly like Obito after he grew up. Not only their appearances, but even their chakra is so similar. It seems the ninjas of this ninja world are far more vigilant than we imagined. They've caught up. Kakashi. Let me meet you in this world. Uchiha rebound. Dato took out a round fan that he had recently captured, then wrapped chakra around the fan and began to shatter the Earth Dragon bullets with taijutsu, just like playing badminton. Haha. Continue. Dato excitedly waved at Kakashi. Kakashi stared intently at the 2 men. The man before him had managed to deflect so many of his Earth Dragon bullets using only taijutsu, he seemed to be a formidable opponent. But at this moment, his mind was entirely focused on the other person's face and the familiar chakra. Who are you? Are you ninjas sent by Gato? Kakashi shook his head. Dai-tu, disheartened, put away his fan. What is your relationship with Obito? Kakashi squinted at Dato. Dato? I am Dato, so what? Dato looked puzzled. Does this guy know me from this world? Are you Obito? Kakashi remained silent. Obito was already dead, he had just failed in his duty. If you weren't brought by Kato, I would like to take my 3 students with me. Kakashi was still somewhat wary of the 2 after their brief exchange. First of all, there's the opponent's incomprehensible substitution jutsu and taijutsu. My current task is to lead Team 7 and take care of Naruto. I'm not comfortable getting into a conflict with them right now. The two opponents are currently quite close to Naruto and his friends. If they resort to any means to use Naruto and his friends as leverage, then we'll be in trouble. Take him away? Let's see who's stronger then. Dato would never give up the Nine Tails Jinchuriki he had just acquired. Of course, he also wouldn't let go of Sasuke, who might be the only remaining member of his Uchiha clan after their massacre. One was an important mission objective required by the Emperor's orders, and the other was key to understanding the Uchiha clan of this world. You know, your own eternal kaleidoscope is still nowhere to be found. According to the Emperor, swapping eyes with his parallel world self might awaken an even more powerful eternal kaleidoscope. Kakashi, let me test your strength in this world. Having spent many years at the Imperial University, he knew he was basically no match for Kakashi without using Kamui. He wanted to see if the Kakashi of this world was just as formidable. Whatever. Kakashi sighed helplessly and took a step back. Aren't you planning to get involved? Kakashi, on the other side, observed this scene and analyzed the details. Do you think you can handle me alone? Or are you watching from the sidelines, waiting to see if I make a mistake? In an instant, countless possibilities flashed through Kakashi's mind, and his vigilance increased to its peak. Since you're also Obito, let me test your fire release techniques. Kakashi focused intently, his hands rapidly forming hand seals, and the chakra within his body began to surge. His breathing became steady and strong, as if he had become one with his surroundings. With 6 hand seals formed, Kakashi made a circle with his right hand, condensing chakra through the hand seals. Suddenly, a huge ball of flame burst from his mouth, and a massive wave of fire, carrying a scorching heat, swept towards Dato. The flames were extremely hot, and the air was distorted and deformed wherever they passed. Fire release, great fireball technique. Kakashi hissed in a low voice. Flames roared, emitting a dazzling light, while the guy opposite, who also claimed to be Obito, hadn't reacted yet. Kakashi quietly watched the fire release technique he had just unleashed, a satisfied smile appearing on his face. He was highly proficient in hundreds of ninjutsu techniques, so this C-rank fireball technique was naturally a piece of cake for him. To his utter surprise, the other party still hasn't reacted at all. Am I being overly cautious? No. He moved. Just when Kakashi thought his opponent would dodge, he actually started forming hand seals. Humph, nothing special. If you had hidden yourself, you might have had a chance of survival, but now, it's too late. Chapter 12. Dato looked at the powerful fireball that his opponent had unleashed using 6 hand seals with a puzzled expression, not understanding why the opponent still had a mysteriously confident smile on his face. Great fireball technique. This is a ninjutsu created by the Uchiha clan, and it is one of the basic ninjutsu that many ninjas learn when studying fire release. According to history books, the great fireball technique initially required 6 hand seals to be formed. These are the 6 hand seals required for the great fireball technique. With increased strength and control over the chakra within the body, the steps can be simplified. Especially after the Emperor made changes to the chakra system, even a genin only needs 4 hand seals to use the great fireball technique. But I only need 2. After all, this is only a C-rank ninjutsu. Remember, combat is all about information and speed. If your opponent casts 1 spell while you can cast 2, who else but you win? The earthwork has been disturbed. He clasped his hands together, his fingers interlocked. Snake. Next, extend your index and middle fingers straight out. Tiger. The next moment, a surging power began to flow from his mouth. Even with a huge, steaming ball of flames almost within reach, Dai Tu remained unfazed, as if Mount Tai were collapsing before him. Just as he was about to be engulfed by flames, Dato took a deep breath, and his chakra rapidly gathered. He puffed out his cheeks and unleashed a torrent of fire attribute chakra. Fire release. Great fireball technique. The C-rank ninjutsu used by Dato at this moment was like a raging volcanic eruption, with overwhelming momentum. The blazing flames of the great fireball technique rolled forward, instantly engulfing and covering Kakashi's fireball. In comparison, Kakashi's fireball jutsu, while quite powerful, paled in comparison to Dato's fireball jutsu. The entire space was illuminated by the blazing flames, and the surrounding air seemed to be ignited as well, crackling and popping. After covering Kakashi's fireball jutsu, Dato's fireball jutsu continued to attack Kakashi directly without any hesitation. Kakashi's expression changed drastically. He couldn't believe that his opponent could withstand the fireball jutsu when it was so close. And it seems the opponent just only formed 2 hand seals. Was it because his physical skills were too strong and his speed too fast that I couldn't see clearly? No. There wasn't time to think any further. Earth release, earth flow wall. Kakashi quickly formed hand seals, and a large clump of yellow earth rose from the ground to form a large wall, especially the dog head on the wall, which was quite out of place. Kakashi's lips twitched. Why is there a dog head sculpture on the earthen wall? Is it to show off their exquisite chakra control? The earth wall was instantly covered by the fireball. Just when Kakashi thought it was over, the flames actually cracked the earth wall and seemed to surge out again. Just as Kakashi was hesitating about whether to use water release to cool down the earth wall, Dato stopped his attack. Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief, but soon a deep sense of powerlessness welled up inside him. The opponent unleashed a powerful fireball, and I almost had to use 3 techniques to block it. No. That was just a stealth technique that I'm not good at. Kakashi could only use self-comfort to compensate for his inner fear. Nearby, Naruto was still thrilled by the exciting game they had just played, while Sasuke was completely petrified. During the Chunin exams, I think I had to form over 20 hand seals before successfully unleashing the fireball jutsu against Kakashi-sensei, right? This person in front of me used 2. Even for Itaki, wouldn't you need at least 5? Is he stronger than Itaki? Kakashi knew he couldn't delay any longer. His chakra had always been a weakness. He hadn't noticed it when using short swords, but now, in a clash of ninjutsu, he was at a complete disadvantage. Since that's the case, Kakashi sighed, raised one hand, and then straightened his headband. The next moment, the eye covered by the scar opened instantly. We need to finish this quickly. In an instant, the 3 Tomo Sharingan opened. Sharingan. 3 surprised voices rang out. Dato opened his mouth wide, making an exaggerated expression, and looked at Kakashi before looking at Kakashi again. He couldn't understand why the Uchiha's eye was on Kakashi's eye in this world, and why there was only one. Kakashi himself was utterly shocked. Every race takes its bloodline limit extremely seriously, so how could he, in this world, have managed to obtain a Sharingan? Sasuke was equally shocked. Why were his clansmen's eyes on Kakashi-sensei? Dato glanced at Kakashi, who rarely showed such a shocked expression, and teased, Kakashi, look. You've even managed to get the Sharingan in this world. Hiss. Can my body handle this? Kakashi felt a chill run down his spine when he thought about how Dato looked after using his Sharingan, as if he had been emptied out by a 200-pound girl. Is there something special about my physical constitution in this world? Dato looked at Kakashi, and the excitement that had just faded in his eyes surged back. If you also have Sharingan. You know, he was indeed a bit stronger than Kakashi with his Sharingan, but to him it was a disgrace. But if he didn't activate his Sharingan, he couldn't beat Kakashi, and if he did activate it, the victory would be dishonorable. Now that I can compete with Kakashi who has the Sharingan, I will definitely go all out. Kakashi. Since you also have the Sharingan, then go all out. Ha 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 ha. Dato let out a maniacal Uchiha laugh, and then his eyes began to change. 1 megatama, 2 megatama, 3 megatama. He had mastered the power of his eyes to an unparalleled degree, and he controlled the speed at which his eyes transformed from black to Sharingan with extreme precision. But that's not all. The 3 tomo spun rapidly, then completely transformed into a kaleidoscope. Seeing his kinsman's 3 tomo transform into a giant windmill kaleidoscope, Sasuke was completely dumbfounded. Etc. Kaleidoscope. Holy crap! I've only just unlocked my second totem. Can he turn the kaleidoscope on and off at will? As the son of Fugaku Uchiha, shouldn't my bloodline be the purest? Why am I only at the second tomo level? Am I really their biological child? Is his bloodline purer than mine? Just as Sasuke was racking his brains trying to figure out from the clues in his memories of their daily interactions whether he was Kakashi's biological son, he saw that Kakashi's 3 tomo Sharingan had also transformed into a kaleidoscope that was almost identical to the one in front of him. What the hell? Wasn't he the only remaining member of the Uchiha clan? Why was he encountering 2 people with Sharingan today? And they all use the legendary Mangekyo Sharingan from the Uchiha clan? As for why there was only one survivor, it's because in Sasuke's heart, Itachi was no longer worthy of being a member of the Uchiha clan. Hey? He has a kaleidoscope too? Kakashi, I'm guessing this guy just looks like you, he might not actually be you. Since you also have a kaleidoscope, then I won't hold back. As Dato finished speaking, the blue Susanoo Titan fully materialized in the next instant. Chapter 13. Holy crap! Do we really have to go this far right from the start? Kakashi was utterly shocked. Seriously? I only missed an eye, was that really necessary? Unfortunately, it would be too late to say anything at this point. After dodging one of Susanoo's attacks, Kakashi's hands also unleashed extremely powerful lightning energy. This is his most proficient escape technique, Lightning Blade. Upon seeing this, Dai-Tu blushed and then seemed somewhat lost in thought. This ninjutsu is more suitable for the Uchiha clan than fire release within the empire. But he didn't learn it. The fact that Kakashi of this world could use his abilities so easily in front of him was a serious blow to his pride. The soil was directly heated to red temperature. UBD. After watching Kakashi dodge his attack, he used Lightning Blade to leave a huge wound on his Susanoo. Kakashi was also puzzled, why had this guy suddenly gone berserk? As the two were struggling, Sasuke's eyes were filled with admiration. If he initially only felt disgust towards Dato, at this moment he was secretly drawn to Dato and even wanted to follow him. Such divine power, if I possessed it too, would that man still be a match for me? Just as Sasuke was pondering, a voice rang in the ears of the 3 of them. Hey! You 3, what's your teacher's name? Is his surname Hitaki? Kakashi looked at Dato, who was already panting heavily even before exerting any effort, and felt a little puzzled. Could it be that they really do look alike? Hey? Our teacher's name is Kakashi Hitaki. Sakura could tell that the two meant no harm, so she spoke up to explain. Is it also a flag? His father's name is Hitaki Shigeo, right? This question stumped Sakura. We don't know much about it. Kakashi-sensei's father, I've never met him, and I haven't heard much about him. I don't know the specifics. Kakashi was startled. Although he was the father from another world, he was slightly surprised to learn that the other party was someone even the ninjas in his village had never heard of in this world. This world is indeed full of powerful individuals. Even a powerful figure like my father, renowned throughout the empire, is completely unknown to the younger generation in this world. Does your teacher have any bad habits? Kakashi asked again. Seeing the puzzled looks on their faces, he spoke up, for example, frequently going to brothels and staying out all night, or having a group of beautiful wives and concubines at home. If none of that's the case, could it be a liking for catheters? Sakura shook her head again. Kakashi-sensei never goes to those places, and he's still single. He just likes reading adult comics. As for the conduit, I don't know. Sakura blushed at this point. What's going on? People can't understand this. This Kakashi-sensei is so vulgar. Kakashi lowered his head and began to think deeply. Something's not right. This world is full of powerful beings, so why am I so weak? What is the Sharingan? Since the weakness is not caused by excessive indulgence, it must be congenital. Since innate chakra can't compare to those overpowered characters, why not use ancestral swordsmanship? Could it be that the fathers in this world don't teach, which is why there's no inheritance? Also, if you're not a member of the Uchiha clan, won't keeping your Sharingan constantly active take a heavy toll? Is there some special pupil technique in these eyes that makes sacrificing these invisibility conditions worthwhile? Otherwise, no matter how you calculate it, the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. Naruto, who was standing nearby, looked puzzled as he listened to their conversation. Can chakra really be used up? Isn't this thing inexhaustible? Why did Kakashi-sensei run out of chakras so quickly? I didn't even see him use many ninjutsu. Naruto's big eyes revealed a clear look of foolishness. Sasuke couldn't help but yell, "Idiot! That's because you used something that didn't belong to you." Fortunately, Naruto wasn't too stupid and realized what was happening. You mean that Sharingan? Then why does Kakashi-sensei still use it? Sasuke scoffed dismissively, his eyes flashing with a change, then they're naturally coveting the power of my Uchiha clan. Kakashi was groaning incessantly. What's going on today? How did we suddenly run into such a monster? There's still one thing I haven't done yet, what am I going to do? The Hokage's mission was to protect Naruto and Sasuke at all costs. One involves the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, and the other involves Itaki Uchiha. The loss of even one person would be a devastating blow to Konoha. Looks like that's the only option left. Kakashi felt that this technique was invincible. Kamui. As Dato activated Susanoo and fought, he suddenly felt a strong suction force coming from his body. He was startled. Although Kakashi's eyes were similar to his own, there were other members of the Uchiha clan within the empire with similar Mangekyo Sharingan. But the same applies to skills, they are almost impossible to find. Because the Sharingan is a reflection of the soul, everyone's eyes are basically ocular techniques that allow them to obtain what they desire and help them achieve the power they want. In that instant, Dato Kamui was also activated, and he hollowed himself out of Kakashi's Kamui. Kakashi was panting heavily from the chakra he had just used and from the battle. Dai too lost his playful spirit, he was weak, too weak. Is this person really Kakashi from another world? Your eyes, this eye technique, is it mine from this world? On behalf of the local people, he asked a question. Kakashi remained silent. Answer me. Dai too was furious. If you're willing to let my student go, I'll tell you everything. At this moment, Kakashi's mind was still focused on the mission. Do you think you have a choice? I told you, if you have Sharingan but can't activate Susanoo, and you're already panting and losing chakra rapidly before even using it, how could those eyes be yours? Dai too was somewhat annoyed. Many of the Uchiha clan members within the empire are only children, and one of their most important tasks is to find Uchiha clan members from parallel worlds. Many people don't have the innate advantages that Sasuke and you have, so activating the eternal kaleidoscope becomes a big problem. He was already quite upset to learn that his race had been wiped out, and now that he had clues about himself in this world, he naturally didn't want to delay any longer. Kamui. Kakashi was instantly sucked into the Kamui dimension when Kakashi activated Kamui. Just as the three kids and Tashuna were wondering where Kakashi had gone, the two reappeared. Dato held an eyeball in his hand, his left eye looked even more profound than before he went in. Unlike Obito from the original world, he doesn't possess Hashirama cells and can freely use Kamui. But at this moment, he was absolutely certain that the eye of Kakashi in this world belonged to him. Feeling the unique power of the eternal kaleidoscope in his eyes and the overflowing pupil power, Dato laughed excitedly. Divine might! The power to distort the void emerged, and instantly a mountain peak vanished completely. He only consumed a small amount of chakra to do this, and the risk of going blind was no longer present. Dato laughed heartily. His experiment had been correct. He had taken control of Kakashi in this world immediately within the Kamui dimension. However, it was a pity that he was not proficient in genjutsu and could only bewitch some wandering ninjas. Kakashi had undergone training in the Anbu, so naturally he kept his mouth shut and said nothing. But none of that mattered. After gouging out Kakashi's pupil, he experimentally inserted it into his own eye. It is well known that members of the Uchiha clan can use their eyes as soon as they are inserted. As expected, there was no rejection reaction, and the power within the eye became even stronger, confirming that this eye truly belonged to this world. Having received something unexpected, Dato lost interest in playing with Kakashi any longer. Kakashi in this world is too weak. If he continues fighting, it will be an unfair victory. His gaze swept over Kakashi, and he slowly spoke, "Hey! Kakashi! Show him what you've got in this world. Let him know that swordsmanship is the true legacy of the Hotaki family. Don't let him use lightning release anymore." Chapter 14. Dato? You haven't mastered Raikiri yet. Kakashi saw right through Dato's little scheme. Dato's joy at having just obtained the Mangekyo Sharingan was instantly dampened. He became enraged and, choking back tears, said, "Can you blame talent for your attributes?" As Naruto watched Kakashi walk step by step toward his Kakashi-sensei, he waved his fist, wanting to rush over and help. That despicable guy! How despicable! He's even trying to use a tag team approach. Dato, however, picked Naruto up like a chick, sealed all of Naruto's chakra in 2 quick movements, and then tossed him aside. What do you know? We're helping your teacher. As Dato drew closer, Sasuke suppressed his excitement and asked, his voice barely audible, "Who are you?" Dai-Tu scratched his head helplessly. This is really a headache. You mentioned this world in a few words, what does that mean? Are you from another world? Sasuke's bold guess. Dai-Tu gave him an approving look, this kid isn't stupid after all. In comparison, why are Minato-sensei's children so dull? As you can see, we come from another world. That's my partner, Kakashi Hotaki. Essentially, your teacher and him are the same person. Several people were so shocked by the information conveyed in Dai-Tu's words that their brains went blank. Both of them are Kakashi-sensei. The 3 of them watched as Kakashi swung his sword in the distance, carving out a line of lines and cleaving a mountain in 2, and couldn't help but swallow hard. You dare use the Sharingan without Uchiha blood? Don't you know that keeping the Sharingan constantly active causes your chakra to drain away every minute? You've disappointed me greatly. Didn't Hotaki Shigo teach you swordsmanship? Kakashi's words silenced Kakashi. Is it the swordsmanship of Konoha's White Fang? I think I was always proud of this when I was little. Are you me from a parallel universe? Kakashi looked up. He had been too focused on dodging to notice the object in his opponent's hand, but now that he saw it clearly, his pupils contracted sharply. Even knowing that this was himself from a parallel world, looking at those white teeth still stirred up a storm of emotions within him, preventing him from finding peace. This knife was the only inheritance left to me by my father. Unfortunately, during the Battle of Shinobi Bridge, he didn't keep it safe and it was broken. Upon seeing the knife again, he appeared dazed. He lost so much in that battle, his comrades, his friends, his eyes, his father's belongings, and his right hand that could never be cleaned. Kakashi's expression darkened, and with a flash of sword light, Kakashi's grey hair fell to the ground. You can actually stand there in a daze during battle? Your combat skills are even lower than I expected. I'm just curious, why would Konoha entrust the task of training a ninja like you, the sole survivor of the Uchiha clan and the Nine Tails Jinchuriki? Kakashi's words revealed his disappointment and frustration. Look at yourself now. Without the Sharingan, you can't even do the most basic thing like dodging. You've gone astray. If you had diligently practiced our Hotaki clan's swordsmanship from the beginning, your weaknesses of insufficient chakra and stamina would have been easily overcome. Kakashi remained silent upon hearing this. Why did his counterpart in that other world practice swordsmanship so diligently? Obito was also by his side. He's lost too much, why would he care about his own strength anymore? His father's death made him give up swordsmanship. Obito's death filled him with immense guilt. Lin's death made him lose his purpose in life. The teacher's death completely robbed him of his sense of direction in life. Alright, this is over. Kakashi, watch closely, this move. I'll show you how foolish it was to abandon swordsmanship for eye techniques. Lightning release, thunderclap and flash. Kakashi vanished from his spot in an instant. With the aid of lightning release, his speed was as fast as lightning. In an instant, a terrifying blade of light tore through space, slicing away large swathes of void into the surrounding air. Seeing that he still had no reaction, Kakashi felt a deep sense of disappointment. Then, the blade suddenly transformed into the back of the blade and slammed heavily into Kakashi's body. Kakashi immediately fell asleep, completely unconscious. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto and Sakura looked anxiously at the unconscious Kakashi. Don't worry, I used the back of the knife at the end, I didn't kill him. Dai-Tu explained to the two of them. Haha, but Kakashi, it seems you're not so great in this world. Dai-Tu laughed mockingly. At this moment, Sasuke seemed to finally remember something, and he spoke solemnly, Senior, if you are referring to the you of this world, then indeed, there was once someone in our Uchiha clan who shared the same name as you. Daito jumped up immediately, his face